The day starts quiet at Heartland. The sky is soft and pale, and the frost still hugs the grass around the fences. The wind is calm, like it is holding its breath. Amy steps out of the house, a mug of coffee in her hand, her hair a little messy from a long night. She looks around the ranch with tired eyes, but this place is still her safe spot. The barn, the paddocks, the horses moving slowly in the early light. It all looks normal, but something in Amy's chest feels wrong. Heavy and sharp, like a knot that will not go away. She walks toward the barn, her boots crunching on the cold ground. In the distance, she can see one small figure standing near the fence, very still. It is Lyndy. Her little girl, usually so bright and excited, is frozen in front of the paddock gate. Amy feels a soft smile start to form, but it fades when she sees Lyndy's hands. They are gripping the top of the gate so tightly her knuckles are white. Lyndy is not leaning forward like she always does to greet the horses. She is keeping her body back, like she is ready to run if something moves too fast. Inside the paddock, the new horse shifts nervously. He tosses his head, snorts and stamps one hoof into the dirt. He is not wild, but he is not calm either. Amy has been working with him for days. She knows his story, his fear, his trust slowly growing. He used to flinch at every sound, every movement. Now he is better. Not perfect, but better. She should feel proud of that. Instead, she feels the knot in her chest pull tighter as she watches him and Lyndy face each other with the same quiet fear. Amy calls out, trying to sound light. She asks Lyndy if she wants to say good morning to the new horse. Normally, Lyndy would run to her, grab her hand, and beg to go in. Today, Lyndy does not move. She shakes her head, just a little. Her eyes stay locked on the horse, wide and unsure. It is not the loud kind of fear, not crying, not screaming. It is worse. It is silent fear, the kind that lives deep inside and does not need words. For a second, Amy tells herself it is nothing. Maybe Lyndy is just sleepy. Maybe it is the cold. Maybe she had a bad dream and will be fine in an hour. That is what any mother would want to believe. That kids have moods. That it will pass. That nothing serious is wrong. But Amy Fleming is not just a mother. She is the miracle girl, the one who reads horses like open books, the one who senses the smallest change in a horse's breathing, the lightest flick of an ear. And now, watching her daughter, she feels that same sharp awareness wake up inside her. Something is off. Something is wrong. And it is not just the horse. As she walks slowly toward Lyndy, Amy can feel a strange chill that has nothing to do with the weather. The closer she gets, the more she sees. The way Lyndy's shoulders are stiff. The way she swallows hard when the horse flicks his tail. The way her lips press together like she is holding back words she is too scared to say. Amy feels a rush of questions flood her mind. Did something happen when she was not looking? Did the horse spook near Lyndy? Did someone say something that scared her? Then, a darker thought slips in, quiet but sharp. Did I do this? The idea hits Amy fast and hard, and she almost pushes it away. She has been careful, hasn't she? She has tried to protect Lyndy from every rough moment, every tense ride, every harsh word spoken in the middle of stress. Still, the knot in her chest tightens again, and this time she cannot ignore it. As she stands there by the fence, with her little girl on one side and the nervous horse on the other, Amy feels it for the first time. A small, guilty voice whispering that maybe this problem did not come from nowhere. Maybe, without even knowing it, she was the one who started it. Amy stands beside Lyndy, trying to understand what she is seeing. The cold morning air feels heavier now, like even the wind is waiting for her next move. She tries to speak, but the words get stuck somewhere between worry and denial. She finally manages to whisper Lyndy's name, hoping the sound will loosen whatever fear is holding her little girl so tightly. But Lyndy only pulls her hands back from the gate and holds them close to her chest, as if she is trying to make herself smaller. That tiny movement shakes Amy more than if Lyndy had burst into tears. Amy lowers herself to Lyndy's height, keeping her voice gentle, almost quiet enough to blend into the morning air. She asks if the horse scared her. Lyndy does not answer right away. She just stares at the dirt, like the answer is written there and she is afraid to read it. When she finally speaks, her voice is so soft that Amy has to lean in to hear it. Lyndy says she does not want to get close to the horse because he gets jumpy, just like Mommy did. Those 5 words hit Amy harder than any fall from a horse ever has. Her breath catches in her throat, and for a moment, the world around her goes still. She has worked her entire life to help fearful horses find calm. But she never thought her own daughter would look at her and see fear. Not the strong kind, the hidden, trembling kind. The kind Amy thought she was burying deep enough that no one, not even her family, could see it. Amy keeps her face soft, but inside, her heartbeat turns uneven. She asks Lyndy what she means, trying to steady her voice, even though her chest feels tight. Lyndy explains in simple words that she saw Amy training the new horse when things didn't go well, and she heard Amy talking to Tim with a voice that sounded upset. Lyndy remembers Amy saying she couldn't fix everything, and something about the pressure being too heavy. Lyndy didn't understand the problem, but she felt the fear behind Amy's words. That fear grew, and now it follows her like a shadow. As Lyndy talks, Amy's memory begins to replay those moments. She remembers the horse throwing his head, nearly knocking into her. She remembers her own sharp breath, her frustration, her trembling hands that she tried to hide behind her back. She remembers Tim pushing her about deadlines, about expectations, about carrying the legacy of a miracle girl. She remembers saying things she wished she had never said in front of her child. But she had assumed Lyndy was too far away to hear. But children hear everything. Children feel everything. And now Amy sees exactly what happened. Lyndy did not become afraid of the horse. She became afraid of the feeling she saw inside her mother. A fear Amy never spoke, never shared, but carried with her like an invisible weight. Lyndy absorbed it the way children absorb storms quietly, completely, without understanding where the thunder comes from. Amy feels guilt roll over her, warm and crushing. It sits in her stomach like a stone. She has always believed that honesty and calm could fix almost anything between a horse and its trainer, but she forgot that the same rules apply with her daughter. She forgot that emotional signals do not need words. They travel through tone, through posture, through tiny moments when a mother lets her guard slip. She tries to apologize, but the words feel too small. How do you tell a child you didn't mean to scare them with your own struggles? How do you explain that grown-ups sometimes hold too much inside until it leaks out where it shouldn't? Amy touches Lyndy's shoulder gently, hoping the warmth of her hand will say what her voice cannot. Lyndy finally looks up, her eyes unsure and searching. She asks Amy in a whisper if she was mad at her that day. The question slices through every layer of Amy's guilt. She realizes this fear did not come from the horse at all, it came from a misunderstanding, from a child trying to make sense of adult emotions that were never meant for her small heart. Amy shakes her head and pulls Lyndy into a soft embrace, breathing in the scent of her hair, promising herself she will not let her own hidden fears shape her daughter's world again. As she holds Lyndy, the truth settles inside her like a quiet ache. She caused this. She created the shadow Lyndy is now afraid to step through. And now, she knows she has to face the part of herself she has been avoiding, the part that is still grieving, still pressured, still learning how to breathe again. This realization changes everything. It is not just about fixing the horse anymore. It is about fixing what slipped between mother and daughter without either of them noticing until now. Amy holds Lyndy close until the tension in the little girl's shoulders begins to soften. But even when Lyndy relaxes against her, Amy's own heart does not ease. The hug feels warm, real, grounding, yet behind the comfort is a quiet truth pressing harder and harder against her mind. She can't protect Lyndy from her fears if she cannot face her own. And she knows she has been avoiding something deep inside, something she pushed aside every time she stepped into the barn, pretending she was stronger than she felt. When she finally pulls back, Amy wipes a small tear from Lyndy's cheek, though she isn't sure if it belongs to her daughter or herself. She forces a small smile and tells Lyndy she could never be angry with her. But even as she says it, Amy feels that knot tightening again. She does not want to lie, not even in the soft, gentle way parents sometimes do to shield their children. She wants to be honest, truly honest, something she hasn't been in a long time. After sending Lyndy to the house with a promise of hot chocolate, Amy stays by the fence alone. She grips the wooden rail, feeling the cold sink into her palms. The new horse stands across the paddock, watching her with quiet eyes. He senses something. Horses always do. The stillness between them feels heavy, like the air itself can hear the thoughts she's trying to hide. Amy remembers the night everything started to shift. She had been working in the barn long after sunset, pushing herself to train this horse faster, better, because she felt like the whole ranch depended on her. She thought that if she kept moving, kept working, kept solving other people's problems, she would never have to face her own. But the truth was different. The pressure didn't disappear, it grew. And the more she pushed it away, the more it leaked into her voice, her posture, even her breathing. Lyndy must have seen it. Children always catch the things adults try to bury. As Amy stands there, the memories rush in without warning. She remembers the panic in her chest when the horse flinched at a shadow. She remembers her own sharp tone when she told herself to get it together, as if strength came from silence. She remembers the moment she realized she wasn't just training a nervous horse. She was fighting the fear inside herself that she pretended was gone. Fear from a past she never fully healed from. Fear from losing Ty. Fear from trying to fill every crack in the family with her own hands. The morning light shifts, and Amy suddenly feels exposed, like the universe is finally shining a lamp on all the things she refused to face. She whispers to herself that Lyndy doesn't deserve to carry pieces of her mother's hurt. But maybe she already is. That thought alone sends a sting of guilt straight through Amy's chest. She turns away from the paddock and walks toward the open field behind the barn. The grass crunches under her boots as she moves farther from the noise, the chores, the weight of expectations that seem to cling to her every step. Here, alone with the quiet land, she lets the mask slip off completely. Her breath shakes. Her hands tremble. For the first time in a long time, she lets herself feel everything she worked so hard to hide. She whispers the truth out loud, even though no one is there to hear it. She admits she has been scared of failing, scared of letting people down, scared of not being strong enough to raise Lyndy the way Ty would have wanted. She confesses her worries to the air, letting them spill out like water breaking through a dam. And slowly, painfully, she understands why Lyndy reacted the way she did. Children don't just learn from a parent's words, they learn from their silences, their sighs, their tired eyes, their unspoken fears. Once Amy stops talking, the quiet settles around her again, but this time it feels different, not heavy, but clear. There is a strange relief in saying the truth instead of running from it. She realizes now that healing doesn't come from hiding, it comes from naming what hurts, even if her voice shakes when she says it. She stands taller, wiping her cheeks with the back of her hand. She knows what Lyndy needs, what she needs. Not perfection, not pressure, just honesty and patience. The same things she gives every frightened horse who crosses her path. Maybe it's time she gives those things to herself. As she walks back toward the barn, Amy feels something she hasn't felt in a long time, a small spark of strength, quiet but real. Not the kind that pretends to be unbreakable, but the kind that grows after admitting you've already been broken and survived anyway. By the time Amy reaches the barn again, her steps feel different, slower, steadier, almost like she is walking through a new part of herself she hasn't met before. The early morning quiet has shifted into the soft sounds of ranch life waking up, but Amy doesn't rush to join it. She stands near the barn door, taking in a slow breath as if she is preparing for something far more delicate than a training session. She knows this next part matters more than anything she could do with a horse. It's about rebuilding something fragile, something she didn't realize she had cracked. Before she can move, the new horse watches her through the fence. His head tilts slightly, ears forward, eyes calm but curious. Amy steps toward him, feeling the weight of all the moments she hid her fear from him. She knows horses don't just react to touch or sound, they react to energy, to feelings left unspoken. Maybe he had been carrying her anxiety long before Lyndy saw it. Maybe the reason he struggled so much was because he was mirroring her own fight to hold everything together. Amy stops near the gate and lets the horse come to her. She doesn't lift her hand right away. Instead, she lets herself breathe normally, slow, even breaths. The kind she teaches people but rarely practices for herself. The horse lowers his head, blowing warm air onto her arm. For the first time in days, there is no tension between them, no hidden battle, just understanding. She whispers that she's sorry it for being weak, but for pretending she wasn't. She knows horses respond best to truth, and maybe her daughter does too. The horse steps closer, and Amy finally reaches out to scratch the soft spot between his ears. It feels like a small beginning, a tiny step toward healing for both of them. Just then, she hears footsteps behind her, soft, hesitant ones. Lyndy stands near the barn door, holding her stuffed pony against her chest. Her eyes are still unsure, but brighter than before. She watches her mother with a kind of quiet curiosity, like she is studying something new and gentle. Amy turns and gives Lyndy a warm smile, not the forced kind she used earlier, but one that comes from somewhere honest. She walks to her daughter and kneels so they are eye level again. She tells Lyndy something she has never said out loud, that grown-ups get scared too. And sometimes they hide it because they don't want anyone else to worry. Amy explains that she didn't mean for her fear to spill over onto Lyndy. But it did, and she understands now how big that shadow looked to a little girl. Lyndy shifts on her feet, hugging her toy closer. She asks in a small voice if Mommy still feels scared. Amy takes her hand gently and tells her the truth. Yes, sometimes she does. But admitting it makes it less scary, and sharing it makes it smaller. She tells Lyndy that fear is not a bad thing. It's just a feeling, like sadness or excitement. What matters is what they do with it. What matters is that they face it together, not alone. Lyndy nods slowly, absorbing every word the way children do when something important is happening. After a moment, she glances toward the horse and whispers that maybe she can try again, not today. Not right now, but soon. Amy's heart warms in a way she hasn't felt in a long time. Not because Lyndy agreed to try, but because Lyndy trusted her enough to say it. They walk to the fence together. Amy doesn't push Lyndy to touch the horse. She just lets her stand next to her, close enough to hear the quiet rhythm of the animal's breathing. Lyndy's shoulders loosen a little more with each second. She looks up at her mother, almost surprised by how calm the moment feels. Amy tells her that healing takes time for people, for horses, and for hearts. Lyndy repeats the word healing, testing it out like it's something soft and safe. Then she quietly slips her hand into Amy's, not because she is scared, but because she wants to. The morning sunlight shifts again, landing on both of them, warm and bright. For the first time in a long while, Amy feels light, not because her problems are gone, but because she's not running from them anymore. She is standing still, facing them with her daughter beside her. Their bond, once shaken, now feels stronger in a way that only truth can make it. As they head back toward the house for breakfast, Amy glances over her shoulder at the horse. He stands calm, ears relaxed, as if he understands that something inside their small family has changed. Something important. Something that will shape everything that comes next. Amy squeezes Lyndy's hand gently, knowing this is just the beginning of a new chapter, one built on honesty, courage, and the quiet strength they share.